Welcome to Unfiltered and Unstoppable with Romesburg. Real strategies for real advisors, a podcast that dives into what it takes to scale a thriving financial practice. Each week, we'll discuss actionable strategies, tools, and insights to keep you ahead in today's financial landscape. From innovative products and powerful marketing tactics, you'll get unfiltered truth and unstoppable strategies. Let's get started by building your unstoppable financial practice today.
All right. Welcome back to Unfiltered and Unstoppable. I am your host, Rob Romesburg. Per usual, I'm always looking forward and excited about our topic today. Let me tell you something interesting that I have noticed about financial advisors, specifically when it relates to marketing. Two advisors can sit in the same exact town, offer the same exact services, same exact products, same exact experience. And yet, for whatever reason, one advisor is just constantly attracting new clients. People are proactively calling them. Referrals are happening naturally. Their calendar is always staying full. But for whatever reason, that other advisor doing all the same things as far as the products and the experience and all of that, and they're just as capable. They just, for whatever reason, feel like they're always chasing, and they're always chasing that next opportunity, and they're always trying that next seminar or trying that next marketing idea, and just really trying to figure out what's actually working out there. And when you take a closer look, that the difference isn't necessarily intelligence by any means, or work ethic, or necessarily not even skill, really. I would say the difference is visibility and trust. So the one advisor has figured out how to show up in a way that is building trust before the first meeting ever happens. And that's what marketing is supposed to do. Not hype, not noise, not gimmicks. Real marketing is what it should do is make everything easier for the right people to discover you and, more importantly, trust you. So today we're going to be talking about what every advisor eventually has to figure out. And what we're going to talk about is what marketing looks like here in 2026. So not theory, not trends, but what is actually working for advisors right now. And to help us unpack this conversation, I'm joined by someone who works with advisors all across the country. She helps them to build marketing strategies that are actually producing results. And it is Carlyn Hosking, our Vice President of Luson Media. And the primary reason why I wanted her on the show today is because she sees something that most advisors don't get to see. She sees what marketing strategies are working across hundreds of advisory practices. Carlyn, welcome to the show.
Awesome, Rob. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
As always, it is a pleasure, without a doubt. Carlyn, but before we actually dive into strategy, if you don't mind, give our listeners a little context, meaning for those that aren't familiar with you or Luson Media, what does Luson do?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little just background on me. I've actually been with Gradient. So Rob, you've been lucky to work with me for 11 years now. So been with the company for 11 years. So really have seen all aspects of how the company from here at Gradient, we continue to evolve, but from the marketing side, how do we continue to evolve, the technology side. But I've also worked with wholesalers and broker dealers. And so I do come from the industry knowledge as well. So that's really how I've really been kind of using me in my role is not just the experience from a marketing side, but truly understanding the advisor's business to then implement marketing. And so Luson, I've been really lucky to be a part of this team. And really, as we launch and go into the marketing side, is we do everything. We just don't do one thing and focus on one thing where we're focusing on just digital or just video or just brand. Like we do everything from start to finish for advisors, but we really just don't focus on one thing, and we want to understand who we are working with. And I think that's the value when we work with advisors, is we get to know the relationship with you, Rob, and you have a great relationship with the advisor, and we get to work with the advisor to get to know them more, and then really implement the marketing. And so when we understand their business, then we talk through strategies, when it's logos, videos, podcasts, social media, email automation. We really focus on all areas from the Luson side, which is really exciting, is the marketing stuff. That's always the fun stuff, right?
Right.
One of my favorite things.
Right. Because you're working with advisors all across the country, what would you say separates the advisor who is gaining momentum with marketing from those that just for whatever reason always seem to struggle with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, Rob, when you were just starting out and kicking off the podcast itself, but even the first 10 seconds when we're jumping on itself, even your video when you're starting off your podcast, like it made me smile because it's pictures with advisors that I've known for the 11 years. And it's working at our events. It's you at sporting events. And so watching that video for 10 seconds, like I'm getting to get to know you more, even though I know you, and it's bringing back memories. And so really one thing that helps separate advisors that I see is the connection. And so that's what you kind of pitched it a little bit at the beginning, but when I watched the video, I was like, oh, this is so perfect because it's bringing back core memories that I know of advisors that are on your video that I haven't seen for years or see all the time, and just memories that I have. And so that's what's really truly separates people from a marketing side, is what are you doing to build connection? Not just doing marketing and being very templated or kind of not putting a personality in your marketing. What truly separates everybody in marketing is connection. People want connection. So that's truly what I see the differentiation part is are you willing to share and build connections with your consumers is really what's starting to bridge that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. That is something that now more than ever, that's we talk about AI and technology and all these things, and we're all stuck behind screens, whether it's phone screens, computer screens, or whatever. Connection is needed now more than ever, which is wild. For whatever reason, it's separating us from connection, all this technology, but people now more than ever want connection and true connection and real connection.
100%. And especially when it comes to money, right?
Yeah.
Money is something that you work your whole life for. You work for that retirement itself. You work for building the family, for leaving the legacy. And so when somebody's ready to talk about their retirement, they want to have a connection, and they want to make sure the person that they're meeting with truly is looking out in their best interest. And the best way to do that is through getting through the connection part.
Yeah, you're right. One thing that I've noticed over the last several years is that advisor marketing has changed dramatically, meaning 10, 15 years ago, it was only dinner seminars and direct mail. Now, our advisors are navigating. I mean, they are all over the place. I hear more people doing radio now more than ever. Social media marketing, video marketing, podcasts, and making sure their online reputation is bigger than ever. And if I were dipping my toe in that water, it could definitely feel overwhelming to say the least. So let me ask you this. What would you say is the biggest shift happening in advisor marketing right now?
The biggest shift is there's so much, and there's so much content. There's so many resources. And so a lot of it too is AI, and you hit it right on the dot, is AI is a powerful tool. But when you're using AI, the one thing that we see all the time is sometimes we get 20 pages of content. We're like, hey, here's 20 pages of content, put it on my website. But then when we're really taking a deep dive into it, AI is great. It's a great resource, but you still want to take a look, is this actually what you guys focus on? Is this going to build a connection with your target audience? Is this your area? Right? Everybody's across in different areas throughout the country. Is this message hitting your prospects? Because if it's not, we can still use that as a base and tailor it and not over and inundating people with content. It's driving people to a clear direction and giving people what they're looking for. So there's all of the tools out there, but it's making sure that when you're doing the marketing, is it's not overwhelming everybody. And it's really focusing on like, okay, if we're going to focus on a topic, let's make sure that topic is across all of our marketing platforms. So there's a very clear message, because you don't want to have 12 different messages and then the consumer being like, what is their main focus? They're saying they're doing 12 things, but is there one thing that they're specializing in? So you really want to kind of have that niche for you of here's the areas we specialize in. So when the consumer is going to your marketing or your website or your radio show, they know what they're going to get from that side of it. So that's one of the things, is really honing in on that messaging and that target audience.
Agreed. Let's talk about what the advisors listening really want to know. So not throwing money at marketing and hoping something sticks, but what's actually producing results. So if you had to point to 3 marketing strategies that are working extremely well for our advisors right now, what would you say they would be?
So my first one is going to be connection. Now I know that's weird to say because it's not really, doesn't feel like a strategy, but really you want to build a connection. So when it comes to that, when it comes from a strategy side, are you comfortable knowing your story? Do you have a story of why you got in the business, how you got in the business? Because really when you start doing that, it ties to all of your marketing, right? So if you're doing dinner seminars, when you're starting that dinner seminar, are you starting building that connection right away? Do you have a good story that people are getting to know you, want to meet with you?
Right.
Also that ties into podcasts, right? Like it's still building those connections across the board. And I think that's what some people don't value enough of. It's important to build a connection. It is important to have your why story because it ties into everything. So really connection makes a huge thing. And that's one thing, like Rob, before even started the podcast, like me and you were connecting on your kids, talking about their sports. Like you and I have that connection. And so that builds our relationship. So having that where you're getting to know your prospect and knowing their grandkids, their kids, what are their hobbies, like that's a tool that is definitely huge in marketing because it's part of the prospecting, right? You want to build that connection, have those types of conversation. So that's one of the number one tools, is truly having a connection, because that ties into all of your brand and marketing. Podcast is another one. This is one that is great to, one, build the relationship, build the connections. Your audience is getting to know you week after week after week. So you're allowing to build that connection. Podcast also really helps in other areas too. The more you do podcasts, the more comfortable you are jumping in and doing seminars, the more comfortable you're talking about these topics. So I know a lot of times dinner seminars, people get intimidated, right? You're standing up in front of people. What if somebody asks a question I don't know the answer? Podcast, because you're talking about the topic, you are naturally getting more comfortable having these conversations and then bringing that into the seminar world. So podcasts are a great tool and resources, building the connection, educating, but it's also how you use that resource. YouTube, digital marketing has been a huge platform. So when you're doing a podcast, you're able to put this out on YouTube, creating short snippets, because then you're still telling that story, that message, and that target audience. So podcast is a huge opportunity from a marketing side because it allows you to, again, build that connection. The other area too is one that I've seen a huge kind of trend this year, and we're having great success, is TV. Inside of it, we've had one advisor last week. He just had 25 leads come in. And the one thing that he did differently for that segment is that he made sure that his message was strictly focused on his area. So he didn't make it a blanket across the board where it could be just too general of a topic. He focused on is what is happening in our community right now in the news side of it. And he got 25 leads from that segment alone. And that is because he's been able to build a relationship, build a connection. So when people are watching him on TV, he has his personality, he has that likability. And so when people are hearing him week after week, it's that relationship and connection side of it. So my big 3, the biggest one is, how do you build your brand and have that connection? Because that connection is going to tie to everything. Podcast is a great tool because there's so many ways that you can use that podcast across other marketing platforms, and it's building the connection. TV is one that we really have seen really done really well for a lot of our producers this year. And when I say TV, I'm not saying a full 30-minute segment. Now, we absolutely can do that. We help that. We support that. But what we really have seen is we have our producers actually go into the studio of their local station with their local host. They are about 2 to 5 minute they're called lifestyle segments. And so it really builds that connection, the credibility, and it's local in your area. And that's what we're really finding a lot of success on.
Yeah, those are all three great. And what's great about those three as well is they will naturally help you build a community presence, which that's all about connection. Everything you just said there, and so many of our advisors are such a great and pivotal piece of the community. How do you become bigger in that area? Is from those three different topics. So that's great. Let's go ahead and let's continue to make this real for the advisors listening. So tell us a little bit about an advisor that you've worked with who has recently made a big change with their marketing approach. So maybe they were struggling, maybe their marketing felt scattered. Uh, what did they change? What happened next? All that good stuff.
Yeah. That's a great question. And so what I have had a lot of great conversations this year is with advisors that have this side where they're doing both the annuity side, the life insurance side, and the AUM side.
Mhm.
So what I've seen over the year is some advisors have built up their practice, and so they get a lot of client referrals. And so then they kind of put their marketing on pause.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, everything's great. Let's let's put it on pause. Like we have that good retention. But one of the things is your client base gets older. And as your client base gets older, referrals maybe don't come in as much. And so having a lot of fun with some offices that have really reached out and saying like, I need to get back into marketing. I want to make sure like let's start this. Let's kick it off.
Yeah.
And so having a lot of success on advisors is it's one we've added in video podcasts. So the video podcast, it's starting to build a connection in the relationship side. We're actually getting ready to roll out their TV lifestyle segments as well. And so it's been really exciting to see all of that come together where we are able to manage their website now. So what allowed us to do is if we don't have to manage everything, but it's been the huge part what we do from a value side is let us take the heavy lifting. So we have conversations with these offices of I do TV segments, I do these things, but now they're not using it for its full capability. And so we've recently just taken over where the advisor moved over to us, launched a brand new website. They're very excited about the new look and feel there, but now we manage every single piece of their social media. So we manage their Facebook, their LinkedIn. We created a YouTube page because they didn't have one. And we now do their email marketing. So now their TV stations don't send them those lifestyle segments and those commercials. They actually send them directly to our team. That advisor doesn't have to worry about anything from there. We go ahead and take it from the station. We make sure it goes on their website. We go out to their YouTube page. We go to their Facebook page, their LinkedIn page, and send an email out to their clients. So they're able to let us do that heavy lifting and making sure we're using it to its full capability. So a lot of that was when we went through a marketing strategy call is, what is everything you're doing today? What technology platforms are you using? And so we found out they're using 10 different platforms, 10 different subscriptions. They're doing all this advertisement on TV and radio, but it's not all in one central area and making sure that it's using in a marketing funnel. So it was able to have those conversations just like our clients do effect and feeling finding of like, where are your assets and things like that. We do the same type of thing and then be like, let us help take the heavy lifting and making sure we're taking to its full capability and not just doing one thing and maybe not using it across different marketing platforms. So that's been really fun and exciting to kind of move everything underneath us in the sense that we can take the heavy lifting. Let us take it off the advisor's plate so that they don't have to go send an email, that they don't have to go remember to do the post because our advisors are busy. They're in appointments, they're in second appointments and reviews, doing seminars, that anywhere we could take the heavy lifting. So those have been some big ones that a lot of work up front on our end. But it's been really exciting just because it's able to see their brand come up with a new fresh and feel to it, and as well take the heavy lifting for them.
Yeah. I would say that the big lesson from that is if you were an advisor and you're truly trying to take your marketing to the next level, is to be humble enough, confident enough to allow another firm like Luson Media to be able to take this forward. So many times I have seen advisors get stuck in the weeds of let me try this and let me create this and let me design this, and it's like, man, that's not where you make your money. That's not your expertise. That's not where you should be spending your time. Let the experts take that over, and you be the expert by working with your prospects and clients.
Yeah.
So go
The
ahead.
one thing I've had a lot of great conversations is I'm not a designer. I'm always the first to admit that. Is a lot of our conversations is we do have a lot of those conversations where it's very transparent but really giving the why behind it of why did we design what we designed and why are we doing this strategy, what we're doing. And we're seeing really great success for that of when you're hearing the why behind it, it's giving the confidence for the advisor to trust, right? Again, it goes back to connection is they want to understand why we're doing what we're doing so that they can trust to kind of release some of that from their day to day, because ultimately they do own their business. They grew their business to where it is at today, and they probably had to do all of some of those marketing things from day one. And so sometimes those are the fun parts that no one wants to give up right away, right? Or that's their brand. So they want to make sure that they trust the person who's going to be doing their marketing, because they don't want something to go out where they're like, that's not me. So really having a lot of those conversations and our why of what we're doing has really helped those conversations and help them feel comfortable with us taking it over, because it's not just here it is and let's do it. It's here's our why. Here's what we learned from you. And this is what we think that would fit your brand. And that really has helped those conversations.
Yeah. But would you say we started this out talking about the example of two advisors in the same area and all of that good stuff? Would you say that that might be what really separates the advisor who's building momentum from those that stay stuck? Meaning, like they just can't let go of the things that they need to let go of.
100%. Because a lot of it is just like all of us and all of our probably our jobs, right? We put more and more on our plate. And when you put more and more on your plate, you actually aren't realizing how much you're dropping the ball and not implementing, right? And so that's where sometimes, if you get too much in the weeds or overthinking, really what you're actually realizing when you truly do look at what your marketing is happening, a lot of it you're not actually doing, right? Because you're still maybe at first base and so you're not actually moving through actually implementing it. And that's the part where you will see what really differentiates between two advisors in the same area and one probably doing higher production is they probably have released some of those things of like, I'm going to focus on what I know is going to be successful to drive our business. Some of these other areas, I'm going to work with other areas that are professionals so that they can take that heavy lifting off and making sure that it's implemented. And that's the thing that you do definitely notice is sometimes you have these calls and they're like, well, I've been doing all these things. But then when you actually talk to them, like, but did the email go out? Did the social media post actually go out? You might have created the content, but you're still maybe waiting on two things to approve or tweaking. And then maybe you missed the boat, right? Especially with everything that happens in the market. If you're wanting to tailor it just right, you might not actually miss the timing of things. So yeah, we definitely notice that.
Well, so let's say I'm an advisor. I'm listening right now. I know that I need to improve my marketing. I just don't know exactly where to start. If someone really wanted to dramatically improve their marketing over, let's say, the next 90 days, what would you tell them to focus on first?
What I would tell them to focus on first, one is for them to truly understand what they're actually doing right now. Because a lot of times, and I do it to myself, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I do all these things. And then I write it down. I'm like, actually, I still need to do these 12 things.
All right.
So actually, truly taking a look and being like, okay, what market is actually happening versus what you think versus what is actually happening. So that's the first thing, because sometimes you think you're maybe doing more than you are. But sometimes you also might be like, wow, I'm doing a lot. And so sometimes you have to be like, am I doing too much? Because sometimes I'll get calls and they're like, let's send an email. I'm like, okay, well, we have a couple emails going out now, and we don't want to sell 12 emails in 1 week.
Right.
So it's really getting an understanding of what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And then from there, even looking at how many different platforms are you using? So I had a call with an office not too long ago, and they were using 2 different email platforms, a CRM over here, social media over here. So they were actually using like 6 different technology platforms, paying 6 different technology fees. And so you're in 6 different systems, and so you're not streamlining. And so being able to actually streamline and your technology work together. And so that's one of the things which we're really excited about this year is our technology. So with Prism, our Prism ties to Loop. And you'll learn a lot more about Loop. I think you're going to have a special guest on here. But Loop is our email technology from a marketing standpoint that ties email campaigns, social media, landing pages, all in one central spot. So you don't need to go out on Facebook and LinkedIn and into an email technology platform. You can create the campaign in one central spot. And that's talking to your CRM system where your database and clients and prospects live. So really centralizing that also streamlines your business to build out workflows. So those are 2 big things that I tell people to focus on is what marketing are you doing right now? How many systems are you doing? Because you're learning probably 6 different systems, you're in the different systems, and then how are your campaigns? Are they actually talking to each other? So those are the first things that I recommend for the first 90 days, but really that can just be done in the first week to get a good understanding. Then once it has that good understanding from that side of what are they using, how many different platforms, then it's talking through, okay, what is the next steps from here? And then talking through do you have website? Do you have social media? And getting a good understanding in there, because that's when we start recommending strategies. Because if you don't have social media, right, we're not going to dive full in from a digital perspective, but we want to start building that out. And so that's when we talk through different strategies there.
That's great stuff. Let's look ahead just for a minute here.
Yeah.
So let's say 3 to 5 years from now, what do you think marketing is going to look like? Like what do you think trends will be? What will be much more important in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, that is a great question. And obviously marketing, it changes quickly. What do I think itself is, I think that the demographic of clientele right now is like a lot of the retirees right now, they are moving in an age group, right? They're kind of getting out of the retiree age, and that's what a lot of our advisors are working on. And so a lot of our businesses have been very successful over the years. So now marketing, looking at the opportunity of looking at your current client base and starting to build that generational wealth conversation. Because if you have a really solid business right now and your clients, getting the connection with their kids, their grandkids, that's going to help with the client retention. That's also going to help with the referrals from maybe a younger demographic. But ultimately, in a few years, right, they're going to be at the demographic that you're looking for. So I think there's going to be a lot of that conversation there. There's a huge transition of wealth that's going to be coming as well to females, right? Again, as women live longer traditionally, women are running more businesses. They are either the breadwinners. And so we're going to see some shift in that marketing too, is a lot with that transition of wealth as women live longer. And itself is some of the marketing you want to tailor to that audience as well. And not just focus always on couples, right? It's going to be maybe widows. So I think that's where we're going to see some shifts in marketing there too, is who is your main target audience. So still going to be some of your classics, right? Of making sure you have a digital presence. But that's going to be key there, is making sure now to start building out your digital presence so you're not so far behind. Because 5 years from now, it is still going to be in, I think, that space where there's still going to be video, YouTube, social media. So if you're like, oh, digital right now, like, I don't know if I'm ready to get into it. So get into it in 3 years and you're starting your first post. Now you're behind the game because you don't know what's working. You're not comfortable being on camera. So I definitely would say like that's where I would focus a lot on it for the next 3 to 5 years. because it's only going to get more to that side of it, and
100%.
more you can build the connection, jumping on camera, jumping on a podcast, like it's going to help you because you don't want to be behind.
I mean, next 3 to 5 years, we're talking about AI today. I mean, just in the last 6 months, AI has just freaking taken off. It is transformed. I just read an article the other day. There are real, actual robots in the Ukraine-Russia war right now. Like,
Yeah,
wild. Like, that is insane to me. And they are AI operated.
yeah.
Like, what's it going to be in 3 years, right? Like, so you have got to hop on the bandwagon right now. Otherwise, you are going to be behind. And I get it. I understand. Like, AI, man, my people aren't going to connect with that. If you aren't using AI, you're already behind.
Oh, 100%.
You've got to use it, but put the human connection to it. That's what makes the difference. And
Yes, and it comes not just even from a marketing side. The AI comes in from your processes. It comes in from the technology side, right? When you're doing the fact and feeling and you're taking the notes on your client, but then being able to take those notes when you're building a connection. And if it's taking the notes on, I know Rob is big into sports. Well, if then you can start getting your marketing to tailor to Rob, but it's focused on marketing and sports, like you're
right,
starting to focus and building that connection based off of your
right,
notes and using that AI technology. So there's definitely going to be a lot of value there.
right. I can't. I mean, these things go by so fast. But before we wrap up, Carlin, let me ask you one final question. So, if you could give one final piece of marketing advice to every advisor listening today, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Everybody's going to have a probably a different answer, right? When I really truly get to know them. But getting to know the people that do your marketing is going to really make a difference in your brand. Because I've been here for 11 years and I get to know the advisors, helping put together their story, their message really has, I think, been a value to all of our producers, not just with me, but my team. My designers that have worked with advisors for 7 years, like they know their brand, they know their story. So I think like my tip to everybody is get to know your marketing team. Your marketing team wants to get to know you, and not just to get to know you of, hey, I want to do an ad. Like get to know them at a personal level, because the more that they get to know you and your firm, we can tailor that message for you to build your brand, your connection, and your strategy unique to you. So I think that's where sometimes people forget that part of the human connection of, oh, anybody can do this. But like the more you know the person that's helping you is actually going to make a big difference in your marketing. So I think that's the value of Gradient and working with somebody like you is you've been here for 20 years, right? And so like you know your advisors so well that when it comes to really putting in and recommending something for their company, it's because of that relationship and us getting to know them and not just a blanket answer for everybody. So that's my recommendation is get to know the people that are doing your marketing, because that's truly what's going to help build your brand, your marketing, and your business.
You're exactly right. Especially for those that are struggling to get to the next level. Most of that is not only does your marketing team probably doesn't know you, but you're probably struggling because the right people in your area don't know you exist yet. You're definitely already an incredible advisor, but if your marketing's not clear, if it's not consistent, it's not intentional, like Carlin is saying, that the people who need your help the most, they might not ever find you. And the hardest part, it probably isn't working harder. It's simply taking a step back and allowing others to take a look at your business from the outside. So looking at your marketing, your messaging, branding, client experience, all of that stuff, and let them ask the question, like, if I were a prospect, would I clearly understand why I should work with them? And that's over the years, Carlin and her team, that's really what they specialize in, is helping financial advisors step back and take that strategic look of looking at their business. And we do it through our marketing and brand assessment. And those the marketers that we work with, they're already successful. They're just trying to become more visible, more referable, and like I've already said, more intentional with their marketing. And we take a look at just making some strategic adjustments to the messaging, the visibility, the marketing strategies. So when you're working with Luson as a whole, they're not selling you anything. Their whole purpose is to give you clarity. And so when we put together the marketing and branding assessment, it is truly focused on how do we significantly increase the growth of your practice. And I'm sure you're already doing a lot of good things already. You just haven't taken a step back, like Carlyn's saying, to see how everything fits together. How does it operate? Like the inside of a watch, all the gears are moving just right on time, and that's where our assessment is so valuable. So if you're curious how this might look for your own practice, our team would be more than happy to take a look at your marketing, your branding, share some strategic insight, and you can request this specific assessment from my site, which is simply evolvewithgradient.com/ignite team. Again, that's evolvewithgradient.com/ignite team. When you request the marketing and brand assessment, our team will connect with you. And Carlyn, once again, thank you so much for being here today. This has been a fantastic conversation as always.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It's one of my favorite parts. And like I said, I kind of had the white glove experience because my team set me up right in here. So that's another great little plug there.
Great.
I just came here to put my headphones on. And so that's truly like what we do is really take the heavy lifting off of it. And that's my favorite part is one, getting to talk to you, but really it's the conversations with all the advisors and producers. Like that's the part that really I enjoy doing. So I always like to enjoy having those conversations and then seeing what the team comes up with, because it's really cool what the end results are and things. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool.
You're right. And for the advisor listening, marketing doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to be intentional.
100%.
And those advisors that grow the most over the next decade, they're not necessarily going to be the loudest per se, but they are definitely going to be the ones that are the most consistent, the ones that build the trust the earliest, the ones that show up the most in their communities. And that's a perfect segue for all those financial advisors listening. You are helping families make some of the most important decisions of their lives, and this work matters more than you may know. You are definitely an important part of your community. So I always like to end the program by saying thank you. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you're subscribing to the podcast. Make sure that you're sharing it with your firm. Leave us with a review. And until next time, this is Rob Romesburg. This has been Unfiltered and Unstoppable, real strategies for real advisors. And as always, thank you for what you do.
The opinions herein may be from personal experience and may not necessarily be those of the Gradient Financial Group, its employees, or affiliates. Any results, topics, or outcomes are for informational purposes only. Financial professional use only. Rob Romesburg does not render tax, legal, or accounting advice and is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency.